Today I'll be giving my informative speech, and I have all of these audience members. Okay, there you go.
You make us proud.
Alrighty. So for just a minute, imagine that you and your significant other have just bought a house in a quiet neighborhood. There's a really good school just right down the street, and there's quiet neighbors. Everything seems to be going great. Now imagine that there's an evil force out to get you and your friends. It's causing havoc on the town, and there's absolutely nothing you can do. Wouldn't you want to fight back? This is what happened in 1997 in the town of Love Canal, located outside of Niagara Falls, New York. Love Canal was located underneath an abandoned chemical waste dump and was causing cancer and disease. I've been fascinated with this topic ever since I first learned about it when I was taking AP Environmental Science in high school. I have done research and dove deeper into the causes and destruction in this tragic story. If not for this incident, there would be other environmental problems that would have never been cleaned up. So Love Canal was the first famous toxic waste site. There were tons of hazardous chemicals dumped here, and they had transverse effects on the community. Love Canal incident sparked CERCLA and other government reforms which helped clean up other environmental disasters in the future. So let's begin by first establishing what exactly happened at Love Canal. So the mess at Love Canal was caused by the Hooker Chemical Company, who dumped chemicals into a reservoir and sold the land to build a school in a neighborhood here. So in 1953, the Hooker Chemical Company dumped tons of toxic chemicals into a dried up reservoir and sealed the evidence underneath the earth. Then, the city of Love Canal and the Niagara Falls School District bought the land for $1. Really bad move there. So they built over 100 homes and a small school called the 99th Street School Elementary School on top of the land. So as stated by Louis Marie Gibbs, a former homeowner in Love Canal, the deed contained a stipulation which said that if anyone incurred natural harm or death because of the buried waste, Hooker would not be responsible. They continually tell us that they properly warned the school board and the city. We wonder why. The citizens were unaware of the dangerous toxic chemicals underneath the children's school and their own homes. Many of these chemicals remained underneath the ground, but one event caused the worst of the damage. In 1978, a record amount of rainfall hit the city of Love Canal. The water seeped into the underneath the toxic waste and caused it to rise up to the surface. These toxic chemicals were now airborne and exposed to the residents of the town. Many families began experiencing health problems, and even kids were seen throwing and splashing in puddles of black ooze. So now let's talk about the toxic chemicals that made Love Canal so bad. The chemicals that were dumped here were so extremely toxic that evident cancer clusters formed around the city. So there have been over 200 detected chemicals in Love Canal. 12 of these 200 chemicals are known carcinogens, which cause cancer. One of the most common found in Love Canal is a chemical called benzene, which is known to cause leukemia and low red blood cell count, especially in young children. This is evident due to one of the mothers of the town questioning why her son was experiencing seizures and low red blood cell counts. But one of the most evident signs of a problem was the extremely high amount of miscarriages in the city. The New York State Health Department went out to Love Canal in 1978 and reported high amounts of miscarriages. So on August 2nd of 1978, the New York State Health Department issued all pregnant women and children under the age of 2 to be evacuated for a small amount of time. Also, there were 5 reported cases of birth defects in this town. Eckhard C. Beck for the EPA Journal stated that 2 of these women's 4 grandchildren have birth defects, both born and raised in Love Canal. A granddaughter was born with a cleft palate, an extra row of teeth, and slight retardation. A grandson was born with an eye defect and had many seizures. So I want to show you a picture of a young boy who lived in Love Canal, and he protested against the chemicals that were being found in his city and his community. And it's sad to know that the health risks that these children face, that they're just asking to have their houses bought up so they can move away from these toxic chemicals. So finally, let's mention what Love Canal is like today and the legacy that it holds. So according to the Associated Press of the New York Post, in the late 1980s, with Love Canal getting so much national attention, President Jimmy Carter in 1978 issued a disaster declaration that eventually led to the evacuation and compensation for more than 900 families in the city of Love Canal, New York. The crisis also led to the federal Superfund legislation to clean up a lot of the nation's abandoned disaster sites. This Superfund has cleaned up other natural disasters such as the Exxon Valdez and the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. So over 40 years later, the town of Bluff Canal is no more. There was a $230 million cleanup that involved capping the canal with clay and a plastic liner and topsoil. The government also bought all of the houses owned by the Bluff Canal residents and refurbished and resold them 20% below the market value so they could get people to move back into the area. So the city of Bluff Canal is no more, but the city of Black Creek Village stands underneath all of this toxic waste still. They have also installed a $30 million waste cleanup project to get rid of the toxic waste that still might be seeping up to the surface. Today, no one would ever know what lies beneath the surface of Love Canal if not for the government's cleanup efforts. So in conclusion, the Love Canal incident has had detrimental effects to the community, children, and families of this area. But if not for this tragic piece of history, legislation would not be in place to clean up other disaster areas that affect other Americans. So we all think that we're all safe and sound in our homes and communities, but we really never know what could be lying underneath the surface. Thank you.
Woo!